The Lighthouse is not a film that provides easy answers for its audience, instead offering only the scattered pieces of a larger puzzle. To make matters worse, these puzzle pieces themselves are often incomplete, or entirely removed from a logical flow of time. Yet the title of this video is Character-Driven Madness. So how does this
come on, you boys, do what do here? How we got to the woods last year? Into the same we jumped our boots. Please let's put in a big boat.
inform character? How does this not verge into meaninglessness? The answer, unsurprisingly, is character. And today on Critical Rants, we'll be exploring the insanity of The Lighthouse through just that. I don't think it's a stretch to say that The Lighthouse is a movie about madness, and what's so brilliant about this film is that it primes you to think that the grizzled lighthouse keeper, Tom, is going to be the crazy one.
Because I tell you, I scrubbed this here place twice over.
And I say you did nothing of the sort. And I say you swab it again, and you swab it proper like this time, and you'll be swabbing it 10 times more after that.
From the very start, Tom is incredibly strict and arguably cruel in his treatment of the protagonist, and his demeanor appears to lean towards the edge of madness.
Bad luck to kill a seabird.
More tall tales.
Bad luck to kill a seabird.
Additionally, Tom's fixation with guarding the light at the top of the lighthouse borders on obsession and paranoia, as he completely forbids the protagonist from entering it. Now, what I'm going to say here is not a fact, and it's far from the only interpretation of this film. There is only one crazy person in this movie, and it's not Tom. It's the protagonist, Ephraim Winslow. As far as we're told early on in The Lighthouse, Winslow is a former timber worker who takes employment as a lighthouse keeper in order to attain a fresh start in life. My understanding of The Lighthouse builds itself on the belief that everything we witness passes first through the lens of Winslow, and this point of view narrative is what results in such a disjointed story. The first true cracks in the logic of the narrative appear towards the end of the first act. The two main characters have maintained the lighthouse for their designated work period of 4 weeks now, but the men who were supposed to relieve them of their duty failed to arrive due to a raging storm.
It's only been 1 day. Maybe the tender did come, we just missed her is all. I can take the dory out.
It's been weeks ago since we missed our Winslow. And I've been asking you to ration for weeks now too, but you kept barking at me like a mad dog, saying you can take the dory out.
Oh, look here.
Oh no, don't be losing your head now.
This ain't funny.
No, it ain't. And I ain't wanting to be stranded here with some damn lunatic.
Aside from a few dreamlike sequences earlier in the film, this is the first true moment where the characters have glaringly different accounts of what they believe to be true. And for Winslow, his account only gets murkier as time goes on. While we're on the topic of Winslow, Ephraim Winslow is only who the protagonist claims to be for most of the movie.
Winslow. Ephraim Winslow. This last 2 weeks, sir, I'd like it if you'd call me by my name.
However, it's revealed later on that Ephraim Winslow isn't his true name. It's the name of the man he killed, or at least the name of the man he allowed to die. And it's this man's identity that he's taken up in order to earn the clean slate that he so desperately desires. The protagonist's real name is Tom Howard, which is hinted at in this scene.
Foreman Winslow, goddamn candy bastard.
Winslow?
He's always calling me a dog. Filthy dog. I'll serve you as a dog.
Winslow.
Whatever.
Winslow.
And then the protagonist's true backstory is expressed overtly during Since both characters' names are Tom, we're going to call each Tom by their respective actors' names, just to make things easier. So the younger Tom will be Pattinson, and the older Tom will be Dafoe. Anyway, Pattinson's monologue occurs in the latter half of the film, and it's where the central truth of Pattinson's character is laid bare to the audience, where the guilt that has racked him for the entirety of the story is revealed.
And I wanted to do him in. I admit I did. Seeing the back of his head, one swipe of the card hook would be all. It was. I didn't. I didn't. I did not.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Tom.
Even when Pattinson does confess to more or less killing Winslow, he still professes his innocence to some degree. He frames himself as the victim in this situation, in which Foreman Winslow berates him and calls him a dog, which is seemingly when Pattinson chose to let Winslow die.
He shouted up and I just stood there. Tom, you dog. I just stood there as all just stood. Watched him get swallowed by them logs.
This is the key that unlocks the mystery of the Lighthouse for me. Think back to all the disagreements between Pattinson and Dafoe, all their varying accounts of the truth. They're all in some way related to Pattinson's insistence that, yes, he is an honest, hardworking man. In fact, nearly every instance of insanity on Pattinson's part is directly preceded by this identity being threatened in some way.
You're only tolerable when you're drunk.
Get to work, says I. To work.
But I'm convinced that this constructed identity is just that, constructed. So when Pattinson looks up from his monologue, expecting to see Dafoe, just as the audience expects to see Dafoe, he is alone in the room. This is then followed by the disembodied voice of Dafoe stating,
Why'd you spill your beans, dummy?
because Pattinson confessed not to accept his own mistakes, but to absolve them. Immediately after the monologue, we cut to this scene of Pattinson running away from the lighthouse, reinforcing the notion that Pattinson is running away from his past and remains unwilling to admit guilt on his part. This idea is expanded upon even further at the conclusion of the film, when Pattinson finally enters the light. But what is... Oh boy. Just stick with me on this part. I mean, we're only a few minutes in, and I'm already claiming that a man being chased with an axe is symbolic of a man being chased by his past, but also the man being chased here is actually revealed to be the man doing the chasing just moments later, so... yeah, I'm just gonna assume that you're following all of this. Pattinson is obsessed with the light and tending to the light throughout the entire film, although Dafoe forbids him from doing so. Early on, Dafoe states that his former junior believed that there was some enchantment in the light, that it held salvation. And that is what Pattinson sees in it. He wants to get into the light so badly because it represents salvation to him, a chance at a new life, a life where he is unbeholden to his past sins. When Pattinson does eventually reach the light, it appears to wash the blood off of his face, yet it ultimately rejects him. He hasn't earned his salvation. He repeated the mistakes of his past by once again killing a man that he felt mistreated him. Even earlier in the movie, when Pattinson sees a tentacle in the top of the lighthouse with Dafoe, It's because he conceives of the light as something magical, unattainable, and alien. A clean slate, a fresh start for Pattinson, is exactly what he desires most. Yet this change, like the light, has to be earned. As far as earning these moments of change go, Pattinson is the king of not earning them. Man, I really wrote that line in the script, huh? In case you don't believe me, here are some examples of Pattinson being a hypocrite.
The only medicine is drink. Keeps them sailors happy, keeps them agreeable, keeps them calm, keeps them stupid.
I'm sick of your smell. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, you goddamn drunk, you goddamn no account, son of a bitch, bastard liar. That's what you are. You're a goddamn drunken, horse-shitting, short shit liar. A liar.
It's Thomas. No, I'm Thomas. I'm Thomas. You're Ephraim. I lied.
What's so impressive about The Lighthouse is that as fractured and confusing as the movie can feel at times, all of the surrealism used in the film isn't a gimmick. It's an essential part of the storytelling. It's the vehicle that's used to convey information about its protagonist. And while much of this information may confuse the audience when they first encounter these surreal moments, there is a concrete picture that can be drawn together from these puzzle pieces upon reflection. The first surreal scene in The Lighthouse, in fact, establishes the main character's central conflict in the film, his inability to confront his past. We are shown logs floating in the water, and soon after, a body. Cutting back to Pattinson, we now see him dragged under the water, where a mermaid screeches a call to him. He then awakes in his bed, revealing that this sequence was merely a dream, yet this seemingly random event is revealed to be anything but as the film progresses. We are literally shown a man drowning in his own past, in the defining moment for Pattinson that left him haunted during the events of the movie, the moment where he left a man to die. Whether he killed Winslow directly or indirectly doesn't really matter, as he still clearly is culpable and feels culpable for Winslow's death, although he never fully accepts that culpability. And ultimately, he pays the price for it. While I wouldn't have called The Lighthouse a grounded film after I first saw it, I now believe, after seeing it 3 more times, that The Lighthouse succeeds because it is a grounded film. Perhaps it isn't grounded in any objective reality, but it is grounded in emotional reality, and those are the kinds of stories that I'm interested in exploring. There's so much more to pull from this movie, like how the 2 main characters could be viewed as one and the same, they do share a name after all, or how the film could be interpreted in the opposite way that I have, where Defoe's character is the mad manipulator and Pattinson is his unfortunate victim. I can, however, only cover so much in a 10-minute video, and I think I'll end here for today. Why don't you tell me what your thoughts and theories on The Lighthouse are in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, hey, consider dropping a like and sharing it with your friends. You can subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter at critical_rants, so you don't miss out on any upcoming Critical Rants content. Next time, we'll be discussing the startlingly brilliant DC animated series that I have fallen head over heels for, so I will see you then.
To ye be beauty.
It's of a merchant's daughter brought up in Callio. Hurrah, me yellow girls, who'd let me go? She took me in the parlor and said, won't you be me beau? Hurrah, me yellow girl.